Hi friends! For today's read alouds, I have the Pout Pout Fish and I have the Popcorn Dragon. We're going to start with the Popcorn Dragon and we'll end with Pout Pout Fish. Popcorn Dragon. Dexter was a dragon with a green scaly body and a long twisty tail. He had short knobbly legs and he had wings like bats which were able to fly when he was older. Like all dragons, Dexter had hot breath. When he got mad or excited and breathed extra hard, his breath got extra hot. One day, Dexter felt sad because he had no one to play with. He was so sad, he sighed a deep sigh. Out of his mouth came a cloud of smoke. "Why, look at me," said Dexter, "I'm blowing smoke." He could hardly believe it. He sat still and breathed hard. Sure enough, smoke was coming out of his mouth. Dexter cried, "I never knew I could blow smoke." He ran to his mother, panting for joy. He shouted, "Look at me!" He ran to the edge of the river where he could see himself in the water, and he said, "Just look at that smoke. I'm going to show the other animals." Dexter began to stroll up and down. He puffed smoke here and there. And after a while, he saw the other animals, the giraffe, the zebra, and the elephant, peeking at him from behind the rocks. The giraffe, the zebra, and the elephant all came out and watched Dexter. Their eyes nearly popped out of their heads. Dexter blew smoke until he looked like a bonfire. Pretty soon, Giraffe slipped quietly away and hid behind a rock. He said, "Woof," trying to blow smoke like Dexter, but he couldn't do it. Then Zebra ran off and disappeared over the hill. He said, "Pfft, pfft," and tried to blow smoke like Dexter, but he couldn't do it. Finally said the elephant, "Goodbye, I have to go." And he trotted into the woods and went, "Woof, woof, woof, woof," trying to blow smoke like Dexter, but he couldn't. They all came back and watched Dexter out of the corner of their eyes to see how he did it. Dexter was delighted. He puffed a cloud of smoke at a green grasshopper. He scared a striped chipmunk with his smoke. He even puffed a small puff, accidentally, of course, right at the other animals. The smoke felt rather warm to the other animals, and the giraffe said, "You stop it!" And the zebra said, "I'm going home." Dexter stopped blowing smoke. He thought, "I don't want them to go home." He said loudly, "Oh, I guess I won't blow plain smoke anymore. I think I'll blow smoke rings." And he stuck his head straight up in the air and blew smoke rings. The other animals just watched. They moved back a little so they wouldn't get scorched. They watched until they were so envious they could hardly stand it. Finally, the elephant said, "Certainly is silly blowing smoke rings," he said, and started walking away. Dexter stopped. He thought, "What can I do to make them stay?" He said loudly, "Oh, I guess I won't blow plain smoke rings anymore. I think I'll blow smoke rings around my tail." And he turned his head and blew rings around his tail. See? The animals were so envious, not knowing how Dexter's nose hurt, that they could bear to watch one more minute. The zebra said, "That Dexter is always showing off." The giraffe said, "We don't like him." And the elephant said, "Come on, let's go." When Dexter saw the other animals actually going, he stopped blowing smoke. Suddenly, he remembered that he wanted someone to play with. He called out hopefully, "Want me to come with you?" And the giraffe said, "No." Dexter watched them go, and then he went home and said to his mother in a sad voice, "I haven't got anything to do." His mother said, "Blow some smoke." "I don't feel like it." And his mother said, "Go play with the other animals." "They won't play with me," said Dexter. "Then you must have been showing off," said his mother. Dexter wandered down the road to where the other animals were playing. He did wish he could play too. He sat down to watch. The zebra shouted, "We don't like you. Go away." Dexter was very sorry that he had shown off. He had no one to play with, and he was tired of blowing smoke. He wandered into a cornfield and laid down in the shade of the corn stalks. He watched a yellow butterfly flutter against the blue sky. He watched a green grasshopper, and the butterfly and the grasshopper did not care how lonely Dexter felt. He could hear the far-off voices of the animals playing. The sun was warm. The sound of insects and the far-off voices began to make Dexter drowsy. His eyes closed and he fell asleep. Dexter began to dream fireworks were going off. Then he dreamed the most delicious smell in the world. He woke up and heard pop, pop, pop. Popcorn, cried Dexter. Right under his nose was an ear of corn that had fallen off the stalk onto the ground. Dexter's hot breath was popping the corn on the ear. Pop, pop, pop. Dexter reached out and gobbled some. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Said Dexter. Soon the popcorn on the ground was all gone. Dexter wanted some more. He stood on his hind legs and pulled the husk off an ear of corn on a cornstalk. Then very carefully, Dexter breathed his hot breath on the ear of corn. Pop went the corn, pop, pop, pop. The crisp white kernels fell into a shower. The popcorn smell began to drift through the air. The giraffe, the zebra, the elephant stopped their playing. They said, popcorn, and they put their noses up in the air and towards the smell. When Dexter looked up from his crunching, they were peeking around the cornstalks. Dexter, swallowing the popcorn, said, Have some? The giraffe, the zebra, and the elephant cried, But you've eaten it all up. And Dexter said, I'll pop more. He moved eagerly along the row of cornstalks to a new place and quickly pulled off some husks. His hot breath started to pop the corn, and the popcorn fell all around, and the animals crunched and munched. Soon the popcorn was gone. Dexter said quickly for fear they would go away, I'll pop some more if you want. The animals looked at each other. The giraffe said, That Dexter is very nice when he doesn't show off. The zebra said, Let's ask him to play with us. The elephant said to Dexter, Want to play with us, Dexter? Dexter cried, Okay. He was so delighted that before he knew, he breathed a little too hard, and out came a cloud of smoke. But Dexter quickly turned his head to one side. Oh, excuse me, please, he said politely. And when they had played until they were hungry, Dexter popped more popcorn for everyone. The other book I have, friends, is Pout Pout Fish. Deep in the water where the fish hang out lives a gloomy, gloomy swimmer with an ever-present pout. I'm a pout-pout fish with a pout-pout face, so I'll spread the dreary wearies all over the place. Blub, blub, blub. Along comes a clam with a wide winning grin and a pearl of advice for her pal to take in. Hey, Mr. Fish, with your crosstown frown, don't you think it's time to turn it upside down? Says the fish to his friend. Nice thought, Miss Clam. I hear what you're saying, but it's just the way I am. I'm a pout-pout fish with a pout-pout face, so I'll spread the dreary wearies all over the place. Blub, blub, blub. Along comes a jellyfish. He floats through the ocean, his tentacles all trailing in a dental locomotion. Hey, Mr. Fish, with your daily scaly scowl, I wish you wouldn't greet us with a grimace and a growl. Says the fish to his friend, Mr. Jelly, I agree, I'd like to be more friendly, but it isn't up to me. I'm a pout-pout fish with a pout-pout face, so I spread the dreary wearies all over the place. Blub, blub, blub. Along comes a squid, quite slender, squiggly sight. She's squirmy, she is squelchy, she is slightly impolite. Hey, Mr. Fish, you kaleidoscope of mope, how about a smile, a little joy, a little hope? Says the fish to his friend, Mrs. Squid, I would try, but I haven't any choice. Take a look, you'll see why. I'm a pout-pout fish with a pout-pout face, so I'll spread the dreary wearies all over the place. Blub, blub, blub. Along comes an octopus with 8 great arms, covered on the underside with tiny sucker charms. Hey, Mr. Fish, let me tell it to you straight. Your husky, bulky sulking is an unattractive trait. Says the fish to his friend, Mr. 8, my chum, with a mouth like mine, I am destined to be glum. I'm a pout-pout fish with a pout-pout face, so I'll spread the dreary wearies all over the place. Blub, blub, blub. Now along comes a fish in a silent silver shimmer. The gang has never seen before this bright and brilliant swimmer. She approaches Mr. Fish, but instead of saying hey, she plants a kiss upon his pout, and then she swims away. Mr. Fish is most astounded. Mr. Fish is just aghast. He is stone-faced like a statue. Then he blinks and speaks at last. My friend, says Mr. Fish, I should have known it all along. I thought that I was pouty, but it turns out I was wrong. I'm a kiss-kiss fish with a kiss-kiss face for spreading cheery cheeries all over the place. So I'll smooch and I'll smooch, smooch, smooch. Smooch. The end. Thank you for joining me, friends. I hope you enjoyed those books. I'll see you next week.